Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Four Corners Podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm Steven.
I'm Zach.
I'm Colin.
And guys, this is our big go home show to Gen Con. Next week we won't be having an actual podcast, but we will be uploading individual bits, I guess, from Gen Con.
So, similar to like what WWE does, where they have somebody on the phone doing like selfie talk, something like that, you know. Except we don't have that stupid
Selfie stick.
Yeah, or the words at the bottom like, "This is what we're saying," even though you can hear us.
But yeah, before we get started on this, I do have a couple things I want to say in regards to Gen Con. First and foremost, I want to thank the ever awesome Tony Vela for your continued support and donation for prize support to WWE Raw Deal Worlds this year. Greatly appreciated. You don't have to do any of this, but you do it for free every single year. That's what makes you the best at what you do, buddy. We really appreciate everything you do. And the other thing that I wanted to give a shout out to is Super Show has their own YouTube channel now. Launched, I believe, a couple days ago. They have two things up. They've got a storyline going on with John Calais, Sean Taft, and Steve Rusk, with implications on their championship at Gen Con. I think their title's on Saturday as well. But I just want to give a shout out to them. I believe if you're going to look for it, you can either go to the SRG Universe page on Facebook to find it, or you can go to YouTube, and I believe it's weird because I think you have to type in John Calais, and that's CALACE, to get it to pop up, and then they've got two videos up. I've already subscribed and liked both videos. It's the #1 wrestling card game in America. It's the most unpredictable card game in America as well, and it's one of the best card games out there. We've all played it. We've all definitely enjoyed our time with it. But
Still play it.
as you guys know, I'm sure everybody else out there knows, I've been in talks with Infinity Pro Wrestling over the last couple of days, and we've kind of developed a somewhat of a partnership. And Donnie was kind enough to allow us to, right now, be the first group of people to spoil the next two participants in the Grand Tournament 2 that will take place in Lafayette, Indiana on September the 23rd at the Lafayette Theater. So up first in this tournament is going to be a guy that he's been all over Indiana. He's been a mainstay at a lot of different promotions. He is a tremendous, tremendous worker. He gives 1,010% every time he gets in the ring, and that is Scotty Forever Young. That is the first of the two that's going to be in this tournament. And again, Scotty is a fantastic worker. I've seen him at World Theology Fellowship, Wrestling Theology Fellowship, as have you, and we spent our time there.
Mm-hmm. That was a good time too.
I had a great
Really
time.
good
Love to go back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first participant in this one. The next one is probably one of the biggest names in Lafayette, maybe in independent wrestling in general. He has been an absolute main eventer everywhere he has ever been. When I first got into wrestling, he was there for me. He helped watch over me and really helped get me through the early years. And he is the Warfare Jeremy Hadley. Jeremy Hadley will be the second participant into this tournament, and Jeremy is without a doubt the very best you could probably put in this tournament. I think very highly of Jeremy. I know he brings it every single place he goes. Top-notch talent. And I mean, he can cut probably one of the meanest promos of anybody in independent wrestling. He is a tremendous worker and talker. Complete package. If you're going to make a blueprint of a perfect independent wrestler, I think you start with Jeremy Hadley. But with that being said, those are the two names. That's going to be, again, Scotty Forever Young and Warfare Jeremy Hadley are the next two participants in the Grand Tournament 2, which takes place on September the 23rd at the Lafayette Theater in Lafayette, Indiana. Another thing that had happened over the course of the last couple of days talking with Donnie is I got to know the other, 8 out of the 12 other wildcard participants, which there will be a link in the description of this video for you to go vote for these competitors. I would strongly encourage that you go vote for them. Voting ends August 3rd, and you can vote once an hour for your favorite wrestler on this list. And guys, I mean, if there's ever a company you ever want to get your favorite wrestler to have his foot in the door, and it's going to be Infinity Pro Wrestling. This company is taking off, and it is taking over Lafayette, Indiana, with some of the highest quality professional wrestling that you're going to find. And these 12 names, and this is a tough list to just pick 2 people out of this list. It's incredibly hard, which is why it's up to the great fans, and they've already surpassed, I think, 1,500 votes. It's incredible. But the 12 names in it are Aaron Williams, Braden Lee, Calvin Tankman, Corey Storm, Daniel Eads, Dustin Reyes, Gary J., Greg Glover, Jake Something, Myron Reed, Teddy King, and Trevor Court. Now, out of that group, I got to talk with, like I said, the 8 of them, and I got a little bit of background information because I wanted the fans on the page to know a little bit more about these guys. And real quickly, I mean, there's 8. I'll try to not take up all the time here, but Aaron Williams, I got to speak with, tremendous guy, very polite, very nice. Aaron Williams started in 2002. He's wrestled the likes of Dean Ambrose. He's wrestled stars like Impact's and OVE, Desmond Xavier, 3-time Rockstar Professional Wrestling Champion, 3-time IWA Mid-South Champion, won the IWA Mid-South Ted Party Invitational 2017, as well as the IW East Coast Zero G Cup the same year. Really great worker. Again, one of the more physical competitors that they have for this. Up next is Corey Storm. He began professional wrestling in 2016. He had his first match in Evansville, Indiana. He's also wrestled guys like Chris Hero, Ricky Shane, Paige. He's got a very impressive list, and he travels all over, going from promotion to promotion, bringing it everywhere he goes. Another fantastic talent. Again, picking 2 people out of this is going to be hard. Up next is Braden Lee. Kind of a new guy, not really as seasoned as some of the other guys that have been on this list. A lot of heart. We talked about his amateur background that he has. He's a 2-time freestyle state champion, 1-time All-American, wrestled at the College of the University of Indianapolis. He's very hungry, and he wants to get into Infinity Pro because he knows that's where the talent's at, and he wants to see how he stacks up against the other best wrestlers in the world that go to Infinity Pro. Up next is Teddy King. Teddy's a phenomenal guy. I've really enjoyed talking with Teddy. He's been trained by Michael Elgin, Chase Owens, Bob Evans, Kevin Sullivan, Tracy Smothers, some very notable names. He's worked for Global Force, the company that Jeff Jarrett had ownership of, that our friend Congo Kong wrestled for. Rockstar Pro Wrestling, IWA Mid-South, Tried and True, World Wrestling Alliance, Pro Wrestling Freedom, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, Bandit Wrestling. I mean, he's been all over the place. He's worked with Jeff Jarrett, Eric Young, Chris Masters, Tracy Smothers, Sabu, Chase Stevens, Dave Christ. Just another phenomenal talent to have. And again, guys, I can't push the voting for these guys enough because it does mean so much to them. When you get a chance to get into a Fed like Infinity Pro, you really want to take advantage of that chance and get in there. And getting voted in is so important. And it can really help add another layer or break through for a young wrestler. Up next is Daniel Eads. He was trained by Josh Rotten, and later Tony. If I botched this, I apologize. Kozina. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that, but I'm sorry. He's got 6 years of experience. He's currently a 2-time RWA heavyweight champion. Was the longest reigning PA regional champion. Held the belt and went undefeated with that belt for a year and relinquishing after winning the heavyweight title. Former Resistance Pro champion. I mean, this guy, he's got all the accolades you'd ever want for a competitor in a tournament. And last but most certainly not, well, I'm sorry, there's one more after him. Greg Glover is a guy that you and I both know. I've had the privilege of working with Greg when he was a part of the tag team, If Looks Could Kill, or High Voltage. They went by both names. He's no stranger to Lafayette or Infinity Pro. He's worked both before. Truly a nice guy, phenomenal worker. He did his time in the tag team division, and now he's kind of branched down to the singles thing. Great worker, great guy. It would be nice to see him return to Lafayette at some point. And then this is the last one. This is Dustin Reyes. He's won the Heartland Wrestling Association Championship before, CZW Tag Team Champion, IPW 2009 Super Juniors Tournament winner and champion, Rockstar Pro Trios Champion Captain. This guy's a very established and very dedicated guy to professional wrestling. Can't say a bad thing about any of these guys. You can't go wrong picking anybody off this list. The other guys, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to speak with prior to this, so I didn't get any information to talk about on this podcast, which is unfortunate because I really would have liked to have talked about them as well. But that is the guys that did give me information. Again, you can vote on these guys. To find the link, go to Infinity Pro Professional Wrestling Facebook page. While you're there, give them a like. And there will be a link. You can vote once an hour every day for your favorite to get them in there. And hopefully we see you guys on the 23rd, because I know 3 of us will be there. Steven, you unfortunately have to work. But I've definitely talked enough. So, Colin, if you want to explain today's topic while I get my win back here.
Today's topic is the greatest, I guess, quarterback. We didn't want to branch out into the greatest player of all time because that just take forever. But
It'd be a long time.
Greatest quarterback of all time in the NFL. We're going to get very punchy, I feel like, in this particular episode. Some people think that it's Tom Brady. Most intelligent people think it's not. I'm going to start the punchiness now.
I'll go last with this, all right?
You
I'll go last.
Because you made me go last the last time when you tried to throw LeBron James's garbage down our throat and pretend he was great. So I actually made a top 4. I have Brady 4th.
Unfucking believable.
I have Brady
Fourth?
4th. I have Bradshaw,
Jesus.
Joe Montana, and Manning above him. You knew I was going to put
Wait,
Manning.
hang on. Are we doing top?
No.
No.
We're just going to do
The
greatest.
number 1, he just wanted to be an asshole and put
Brady 4th.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to decide how we want to do this topic. Are we arguing whether Brady's the greatest or not, or do we just want to argue who we think?
I would say argue your
Say
person.
who we think.
Your person.
Okay. If my phone wasn't half fucking dead, I'd probably have better stats. But, I mean, most of what I think, Peyton I think is the greatest. For one thing, he's the only player I think in history to win a Super Bowl with 2 teams.
No, he's not.
I'm pretty sure that was the big thing about him winning with the Broncos, is that nobody else has won with 2 teams. People have taken
Are we talking about quarterbacks?
quarterbacks,
Quarterbacks.
just quarterbacks solo. I
I'm
know
not too
that
sure about
like
that. I'm
I
not
know
too
that
sure about that.
I know that Kurt Warner has taken teams to the Super Bowl multiple because he
yeah.
took St. Louis and
Cardinals.
the Cardinals, but I don't think anybody has ever won with 2 different teams. So
I can't prove that off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
keep going.
I'm pretty sure. Scott can look it up. He's got the vast majority of personal records. Now, yes, I will give you, Tom Brady has won 5 Super Bowls, blah, 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 blah. Pretty much all of them except for the Falcons one was shrouded in controversy.
Well, he has to throw the Philly game in there too.
Well, he didn't win that one.
I know, but yeah.
Well, actually, no, he beat Philly once.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that one was shrouded. Every single one except for the Falcons one was shrouded in controversy. And
I'll get to that.
honestly, if you really think about it, this is my personal opinion. I think if Brady weren't on the Patriots, he'd never have a Super Bowl. I firmly believe.
I don't agree with that.
I firmly
Are you
believe it.
fucking high?
He has.
Tom fucking Brady.
Yeah. I think
Would never win a Super Bowl.
without the coach
Without-
he has. Without the coach he has.
Without.
Yeah.
Never.
That's fucking right.
Never.
Yeah, I fucking said it.
Never.
Tom Brady would be over.
Zero.
Without
You
the
are
Patriots.
high as a motherfucker.
No, I'm
we
fucking
need to
intelligent.
drug test you
No,
before coming
I'm
on this
fucking intelligent.
podcast. Intelligent?
Yeah. I fucking know what I'm talking about. He would
Intelligent.
tell him one. Yeah.
Not
Throw
one.
him on any
Not
fucking
one.
team.
Not one.
Yeah. You
Not
won one.
Have you
won
watched football in the last fucking 16 years?
Yeah.
Not
you know
one.
who calls that? Yeah. If it weren't for Bill Belichick, he wouldn't have a single fucking title. He's not that fucking good. It's Bill Belichick. And if it weren't for if Peyton Manning were on the fucking Patriots, he'd have 7. I guarantee it. He is that much better than Brady. Period.
Oh, when it gets to me, I am going to light you the fuck up.
Like you haven't done it
No,
already.
I'm not going all in yet. I'm not going all in yet. I'm going to let him say his piece. As stupid and idiotic as his piece is, go and finish. Go and finish.
Yes, Steven?
You didn't let him finish.
I didn't let me finish with LeBron James last time we did this, so that we're even now. Continue. Continue.
Oh boy.
I knew it was going to start. Alright. I kind of lost what fucking track
No,
I was
keep
on
going.
because
Don't
of what you were
stop.
saying.
Don't stop now.
No, I just don't. I don't see Brady as being that great. I think Peyton's better than him. I think Montana's definitely better than him. I could say Bradshaw. It's questionable. I could say that could be either way because Bradshaw and Brady played in 2 totally different fucking eras. Bradshaw played where you get the shit beat out of you, pretty much no matter what position you played, and now you can't touch any quarterback, and that's not just Tom Brady.
Or just ask Joe Theismann.
That oh my god.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's not think about that. But now, I mean, it's so hard to compare quarterbacks from now to then, because in Montana and Bradshaw's era, it was so much easier for a player to get hurt, a quarterback to get hurt, for them to get hit, and now, I mean, with the way the rules are, you can't even hardly touch them half the time without them throwing a flag. And I think that probably is the one biggest knock to not just Brady, but also Manning, that they play in an era and played in the case of Manning because you're retired now, but they play and played in an era where, you know, getting hit is very rare, and it's usually not something that's going to cause serious injury because they're not going to let you do something like that. You're looking at Manning's stats. Do you have anything on?
He was the first to win 2.
Yeah, okay, I thought so.
I didn't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I actually thought that was kind of true. Yeah, I mean, he's still got the yards record, I believe, and he's still got the touchdown record. I mean, both. Yep, he still does. And realistically, and I want to use one of Scotty's arguments against him from the LeBron James situation. Super Bowls and championships in general, I know a lot of people put emphasis on the leaders of the team as being the reasons why they win, but it really is truly a team award. If you look more at the stats of just single individual stats, Manning's got most of the records except for games won, and I believe games started. Because Favre's got games started, and Brady's got games won. But he's got yards, he's got touchdowns, which are 2 very important stats. What do you got?
Oh, you'll find when it's my turn, you'll know.
Oh, he's going to speak his fucking gibberish. Just FYI, he's a little biased because he's been a Patriot
I'm
fan.
biased?
Yeah. What's that? Ooh.
I'm biased.
I mean, he's got... Yes. He's showing this list of most games with certain high passer ratings, and it's Manning.
Tom Brady.
Finally, Tom Brady. Then there's a Roethlisberger. Then there's another Manning. Then there's another Manning. My God. Anyway, so I like all those stats saying Manning's so fucking good, because he is. He's easily one of the best. Anyway, that's all I got.
That's
Zach,
all you
wanna
got?
go?
No, hold on. Before anybody else starts, you're 100% done.
I'm done.
You have nothing else you're going to add.
Not at this point until you start, and then I'm going to yell
And when
at
you get educated, I open your eyes.
That's
Zach.
adorable. He thinks he's going
Let
to
him go first.
No, go ahead, Zach.
No, you go.
No, go ahead,
No,
seriously.
you go. Go.
We're not asking about where we're going to eat, guys. Come on.
Just go.
Why?
I want to go second to last.
Why?
Just do it.
Steven?
Such a dick.
I'm actually really curious because these are the only two
Oh,
unbiased.
I already know what Steven's going to say.
Actually, I really don't think you do.
Well, who
So-
could it really be?
Huh?
It's not going to be
Well,
Manning.
actually, for
It's
me,
not
it's
going
a
to be
tie.
Brady.
For me, it's a tie.
Really?
Like, the more I've been thinking about it and the more I've been kind of giving time.
Because these are the only two unbiased people at this table.
Right.
Well, let him speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So, like, I will agree with your point that the game now is completely different than what it was back in the 80s.
Right.
So, if you go buy the Super Bowl ticket and everything like that, then obviously the Steelers have the most. Which, obviously, I know Terry Bradshaw is on your list.
Yeah, me one for
I know, and they have 6.
Mhm.
New England has 5.
No. I think they have 7.
No.
Steelers have 6? Okay.
Yeah, no team has 7.
No way has. Because that's why the Steelers...
Oh, stairway to 7. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stairway to 7. And the Patriots have 5. Granted, Brady's won all 5 of them for it. The main thing with Brady's is the fact that they have been under scrutiny. Not all of them, but some of them. You can't give me that. There's no denying that. However, if we go by the modern day of back in the 80s, the greatest of all time would have been Joe Montana. Now, a lot of people will say that he's not the best because he had probably the best wide receiver of all time, if not a top 5 wide receiver of all time.
I mean, I'm gonna put Jerry Rice as the
Can
best.
I interject
Okay,
something
I'm
really
just-
quick here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I consider Jerry Rice the greatest player of all time, regardless of position.
Talk to Barry Sanders.
He would be 2. He'd be 1A,
Okay.
if that helps.
Okay. So, but that's where I know, I'm pretty sure where your argument is. But my defense to that is Tom Brady had Randy Moss. Now, granted, it was in his later career. Jerry Rice was younger, too. So those I feel like kind of offset.
I'll address that.
Fair? So, if we want to go by that modern day, then yes, I would say Joe Montana. If I go by this modern day, I would say Drew Brees.
Really? I mean, if you look at stats, he's not all that far off.
Okay,
And-
but
And in a couple years, if Breeze continues to play, he's going to probably pass Manning
yeah,
for yards.
okay. But what really defines them as the greatest of all time? And you
Overall-
can't say stats.
Overall, no, this is the same thing I have with LeBron James. It's overall body of work.
Okay, so with Drew Brees, yes, he only has 1 Super Bowl. Okay, he does. He only has 1.
Oh no, I know.
Okay,
Hey, who did he win that one against?
Okay, in total fairness, it was a coach call because we.
Whoa!
No. Time
Okay,
out.
okay.
And like I said, Bill Belichick is the reason that Tom Brady is as good as he is. Would you agree?
He definitely has a hand in it. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If it weren't for
The
second half-
the dumbest play call in NFL history.
exactly, Manning would have 3.
By the
Agree?
way, that a lot of people say the throwing the ball at the 1 was the dumbest. No.
that was second.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The only reason that people say that was the dumbest is because it didn't work.
Yep.
You flip the narrative. Russell Wilson throws a touchdown. The whole narrative gets flipped. Russell Wilson outsmarts the great Tom Brady. The dynasty is over. Russell Wilson wins back-to-back Super Bowls, beating Manning and Brady to do it. It's only viewed as dumb because it didn't work.
Yep.
If that onside kick fails, Sean Payton's out of a fucking job. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Hank Baskett had caught the ball, but then it fell out of his hands and then scooped up by the Saints. You're giving, and again, I'm not going to say Peyton Manning's a bad quarterback. He's not. In my rankings, he's second of all time. I have him above Montana in my rankings. And people can get pissed about it, but it's my fucking rankings. So, look, you give arguably the second greatest quarterback of all time the ball at the fucking 40, up what, 10 at that time? Or 10,
It was
13?
13, I think. It
Game
was-
over.
Yeah.
Game over. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I
No,
apologize.
go ahead.
but-
Just keep going.
No, that was it.
No, just keep going. Just keep going.
We're done.
Just keep going.
I feel like when we do these GOAT conversations, we just kind of take over this.
No, go. I
No,
actually.
go ahead. I'm done.
Well, then it's Zach's turn.
Go ahead.
Are you sure you're not?
Yep, I'm good.
He says Drew Brees. Apparently.
Just go.
Zach?
If you want to look at this objectively, you can make an argument for if we're just talking this day and age: Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Rodgers, Breeze.
In that order?
No,
Oh,
no,
just
just
middle?
if we're talking about that era,
Mhm.
Tom Brady is the greatest because of the statistical analysis. If you want to look at awards and things that have been done in the community, plus the awards that he's won, Peyton Manning is the best. 5-time MVP, 7-time Pro Bowler, 14-time
He looked up these stats.
All NFL first team.
Mhm.
So Manning, if you want to call the greatest quarterback who has only won one Super Bowl,
Peyton Manning has 14 Pro Bowls.
14,
Seriously, yeah.
7 all pros. That was the one.
Yeah, it was backwards.
Then I would go Aaron Rodgers as the new great quarterback of all time.
For people that've only won one Super Bowl.
That have
That's-
only one Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now you can't look at me. You're looking at me like you're fucking stupid. There's no fucking way. No, Aaron Rodgers has not had any of the receivers that Tom Brady has had. Don't even fucking look at me like that. You have Donald Driver,
Jordy Nelson's pretty
Jordy
Oh
Nelson.
yeah, I heard Jordy Nelson's okay.
good.
You have fucking Wes Welker, and who else did you have?
Butterfingers.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
Wes Welker was really good until the playoffs.
You're looking at me like, oh,
we found that out the hard way too. You weren't the only one that got affected. God, every time we gave Wes Welker the ball, he fucking fumbled it.
you can't tell me. You're gonna use this argument. Well, Tom Brady didn't have all this and this.
Oh no, I got a list of the wide receivers. I've come prepared for
Aaron
this.
Rodgers doesn't either. Period.
He definitely does now.
Well, hold on.
No.
Jordy Nelson. We're gonna go over these guys and we're saying it's not that good. Jordy Nelson,
I'd say he's good.
Greg Jennings.
He's pretty good. Well, when did he get Greg? Because I felt like Greg
He
James
had
got him
Greg
at the lighter.
Yep,
the
he
latter.
had Greg. He was there for the turnover from Favre to.
He only lasted a season.
No, he lasted about 2 or 3.
I don't think so.
I think they won with him, didn't they?
Yes.
Okay, so they won a Super Bowl with Jimmy.
Donald Driver.
He's pretty good, but I feel like he was old too.
There were spurts. Who's the big boy that was back, the running back?
Lacey?
Alabama.
Lacey? Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy.
Lacey.
Lacey. Okay, first off, it's an Alabama running
Okay.
back. There's only like 2 good ones in the entire history of the world.
Granted, not a wide receiver, but he does.
Yeah,
It's really weird. He was really good, and then he just kind of.
he got fat. That's what happened to him.
He's getting arguably one of the best tight ends of all time.
Tony Gonzalez is still the best.
One of, not the, not the grand poobah of tight end.
I would. He's probably 3rd behind
Are you talking currently or all time?
all time. I'd say he's 3rd. 3rd behind Gronkowski, who's 2nd, and then Gonzalez.
There's a guy that was on the Chargers
Oh my God! I completely
that I
forgot.
heard could catch a couple balls decently well.
I forgot all about him. That's my apologies. Yeah, he's in the top 5. Could we agree he's in the top 5?
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
It's injury for me. He can't stay.
Well, then
Healthy.
you could knock Gronkowski for the same thing. As far as best of the best, it's Gonzalez. Period.
Right.
Yeah.
So my thing is, it depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at Super Bowl wins, yeah, it's going to be Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is. if you're going to look at an overall body of work, I don't care what you say, Peyton Manning has a better record and resume than Tom Brady. Sorry, 5 MVPs, a Super Bowl MVP, a comeback player of the year award. You know, I'm sorry, but Tom Brady's not even close on the number of season MVPs.
On a technicality, with the NBA, Michael Jordan does not have the most NBA titles of all time. I believe Bill Russell has 11.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
But
technically,
but Jordan's won 6 straight.
No.
He won 6 in a row.
No.
Or no,
He won 3 and 3 with a split in the middle.
Yeah.
'Cause he went to the White
Well, I
Sox.
mean, yeah, he won. He won every series that he was ever in the playoffs or in the finals.
Yeah, he is 6-0 in the finals.
He's 6-0 in the finals.
we had
Did someone cut out your tongue over here?
we had the slow walk back there, but we got him there. Yeah, he's 6-0 in the finals. That's right. There's nobody I think right now.
I thought you meant playoffs.
No.
Yeah, there's nobody right now in the NFL that's currently playing, anyways, that I believe is undefeated in the Super Bowl.
No.
Well,
No.
I guess technically Nick Foles is because he's 1-0.
Well, and isn't Ben Roethlisberger? Cause I
And
thought he won.
Breeze. Ben's lost one, I think.
I thought he's won 2 though.
Ben lost to the Packers.
Yeah, he's 2-1. Because Eli's 2-0. He's 2. He's only won 2. Yeah.
I thought he went 3.
No,
He's
only
won 2. He beat New England both times.
Yeah. Irony.
So, I mean, you're just gonna have to depend. You're gonna have to say, prove. I guess without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it's really tough. So it's either Brady or Manning, and if we're gonna go look at an overall body of work, I'm giving it to Manning.
This is really thought out. I just wanted to hate speech Brady.
You did. You definitely.
Because I knew it was coming back, so I had to start with my hate speech because I knew the second I was actually impressed he put Manning second. I figured he.
I have always had Peyton Manning at
But
second.
if you want to look at overall all time, I'm sorry, but Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw are 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean every Super Bowl that Joe Montana went to, he won. Every Super Bowl that the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s and the 80s went to with Terry Bradshaw, they won 5. Or what? They won 3.
He won 4.
4, and then Montana won 5.
No, he won 4 as well.
4. So I mean,
Brady's the only one at 5.
Yeah.
yeah. So those are 4 wins. They're undefeated in the Super Bowl. If you're really gonna go on Super Bowl wins, Joe Montana is 1 and 1A is Bradshaw.
Like I said, it's hard to compare 70s and 80s to now because I don't think, and I think we can all agree to this, that Brady and Manning and the quarterbacks now, except for maybe Roethlisberger, they would probably be dead after 5 years
probably
in that era. I mean, they'd never make it. They're they're too fragile. Wow, is that thunder? Anyway.
But
Might have been my air conditioner.
the other thing that I want to get to is if you look at what Manning's done, revolutionizing the game of football itself. He goes over every check. Tom Brady had to learn this. He went through every check. He would go through. He would call something different at the line, and you can see it in now Ray Lewis and all the linebackers and any fucking team. They're having to play mental chess with Peyton Manning. And that's where you can definitely see it even to this day.
I definitely feel like Manning is has the best football IQ.
Well, he could be a coach at any level
Yeah.
and dissect everything within a tenth of a degree of whatever.
And in fairness, he's not really had that. He's had maybe one really solid coach and then a bunch of meh at best. I mean, Dungy was a great coach, but after that, it's people that lasted
Kubiak
2 or 3 years and
yeah.
were garbage and got dumped. I mean, that's another thing that I think unfortunately knocks Brady a little bit is that he's had such consistency at coach, whereas Manning never got that type of consistency.
Well,
that it helps. I mean, if you have a consistent, every year you're going to have this coach and this set. it makes it a lot easier to go out and win games and
True.
play and go to Super Bowls.
But the thing that I have the biggest problem with Tom Brady, and it was with the Garoppolo trade, instead of teaching this kid and saying, you know what, maybe it's time for me to retire, to pass the torch down, you let him go. Because I have to play, I have to be the starting quarterback. That is the one big knock that I have on Tom Brady.
Hold up.
I didn't say that.
When did Brett Favre sit Aaron Rodgers down and give him the do's and don'ts? He didn't want Aaron Rodgers on the team. He didn't want Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think
He didn't want Aaron Rodgers starting. Aaron Rodgers, that came out of his mouth. Your stepdad's the Packers guru. Have you ever had this talk with him?
No.
No, you've never discussed Packers football with him.
He's a Panthers fan.
We don't talk about like Favre and Rodgers.
He just doesn't like Brett Favre?
Well, he burned his jersey when we went to Minnesota, so I guess.
He burned his fucking jersey.
I think,
That's
I don't know if
amazing.
it's true or not.
I hope so.
I don't know if he did or not. But
That's funny. But I didn't see the great Peyton Manning taking any of his backups under the learning.
Oh, bullshit.
Who?
Sorgi, Painter, you can go on and fucking on.
What?
Brock Osweiler.
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
That went well.
Manning looked thrilled when he was on the bench.
I'm just saying.
Okay. In fairness to to Manning here. Actually, this is actually more in fairness to Brady. None of those quarterbacks you named under Manning were starting quarterback level talent. Garoppolo has proven that he's starting level talent. So I can understand in this instance why Brady wouldn't want to let go. Because he knew.
But if your legacy, if you're supposedly the greatest fucking player ever to play the goddamn game,
Right.
and you're sitting here, I don't want to teach him because he's already there. What does that say?
Okay, let's change the script. We're at work. They bring in this guy that's gunning for your job. You're out of a job. You're out of a way to feed your family. You're out of a way to take care of yourself. Granted, we don't have supermodel wives with big dick paycheck coming in every fucking week.
Brady could retire next week and he'd be fine for life.
Would you want to help that guy take your fucking job? I know I would. You?
I'm up for the
They bring in an assistant manager. All right, Steven, I
I'm
want
up
you
for
to
the
train him.
competition, though. Tom Brady made this where it was no competition between the two.
Because he's intelligent.
It also shows that you're a puss because you don't want to take on the goddamn competition. That's what I'm saying.
You want to take on a competition with an organization that has a history of training you or cutting you regardless of how fucking good you are. They have let Pro Bowlers walk for less.
But you know what Belichick said? He would rather have this guy right here, right now, because of Tom Brady's shit.
Because
right
he hit reset. Look.
By the way,
The
this is
New-
Garoppolo.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Garoppolo jersey. The Patriots were the luckiest fucking team in the world. They hit reset on Tom Brady with Garoppolo, what they had in Garoppolo. Robert Kraft did not want to deal Tom Brady.
now. But you had a coach that did.
That was Bill Belichick's decision, allegedly, that he wanted to part ways with Tom Brady.
What else do you have to prove if you're Tom Brady? You don't have anything else to prove.
He has a...
That
In Tom Brady's mind, just from seeing the way he talks and the way that he conducts himself, to the people that doubt him for the scandals, the joke that was Deflategate, because I'm sorry, there was no evidence proving that man was guilty in Deflategate. That entire report was filled with maybe, possibly, could be, possible, probable, no definite, no definitive proof. That man was found guilty on what, the third fucking circuit hearing? Goodell went till he got a yes. That's all this was. Goodell wanted to save face and get a yes to prove that he was right. He was throwing his fucking weight around. And at the expense of Tom Brady. That Deflategate thing was a fucking joke. Because the Colts had underinflated balls too in that game. And also, Aaron Rodgers comes out and says he likes to overinflate his balls during the game. Yeah, I know, this is going to be...
Oh man, this is the topic we really need to get on.
But here's the thing. He comes out and admits to doing that. That's cheating. The Tampa Bay quarterback, when they won the fucking Super Bowl, admitted to paying a ball boy to heat up the fucking balls. That's cheating in the Super Bowl. But we don't, as a society today, We will not discuss that because it does not involve Tom Brady. America hates fucking winners.
No, fuck.
Do we cheer for the underdog every time there's sports?
Cell phone. Tom Brady would not turn his cell phone over to the police, to the people who said, this can set you free. He said no because I broke it. That still doesn't mean you can't fucking boot the shit.
In a court of law,
that makes that look guilty. That is guilt.
In the court of public opinion, that is all he's been guilty in. I want him to speak. I've asked him twice.
That is guilt.
I'm enjoying this argument now.
It is guilt in the court of public
Okay, so
opinion.
if I'm Tom Brady, here's the thing. If I have nothing to hide, here you go. Go ahead, search my records.
Here's the thing. What if there's something worse on there than that? What if that would have got somebody else in trouble?
Well, then you know what? You shouldn't commit the crime. It's that simple. If you don't commit the crime, you don't have to worry about, hey, I broke my phone. Do the right thing. Turn your phone in.
He was only guilty in the court of public opinion.
We're arguing antics.
I think it's semantics.
Semantics.
But I don't even remember. You guys were arguing. It was great. I will say Deflategate was pretty much a witch hunt. I think it was.
Glad I'm sitting for that.
Yeah, it pains me to say it, but yeah. I mean, first off, I don't have any respect for Roger Goodell in the first place. I think he's a piece of garbage.
You can say it, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a piece of trash. And I don't have any respect for him. I don't have any respect for anything that he's done with the NFL in the past 3 years. We can go into a bunch of other stuff, but I'm not bringing politics into this. So
Yeah,
if you can guess where we're going.
That's against
Yeah, so
policy.
That aside, you still have Spygate. That was still. I mean, yes, I don't think it really affected them getting to a Super Bowl, but there's still scandals behind the team, and it's not necessarily Brady's fault, and it's not a knock against Brady, but it does make the team look bad, and by that comparison, that makes him look bad, and that's why I think as soon as they mentioned Deflategate, they went, oh, the Patriots, well, Spygate, so obviously they fucking cheated. It's one of those deals where if you're an organization that has shown in the past that you are willing to cheat to win, and that's any sport. You know, I know some people in racing or other sports that have cheated to win, and they get this negative connotation that they always cheat. And if they're winning, they're going to cheat. And unfortunately, that's something that bit Brady's legacy, and it probably will be something that people will never not knock him for. Whether it's valid or not, it's unfortunately the way the world is going to be, and there's anything that we say at this table or anybody says at any table that's going to change that point. Is that he works for a team that at one point cheated, so by, what's the term I'm looking for?
Default? Guilt
by association, you know, unfortunately that's going to be a knock. Now, I didn't put that as part of my points to why he's where he is. My personal points were that I don't think he would be as good as he is if he didn't have Bill Belichick. And the reason he's behind Montana and Bradshaw is because, realistically, if he were playing in the same era as they were, he would get dismantled, to be fair. I mean, he's proven, and also Manning, so I kind of got to knock Manning for that as well, that in this era, if you lay a hand on him, any place here above, you're probably exiting the game, which is embarrassing at this point, but it's the way it is. Back in the day, you could punch some dude in the face, and they probably would look the other way, a quarterback or otherwise, except for kickers. They were so, I mean, because kickers are basically like 120 pounds, but
Except for if you
They explode on contact.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for that really big dude from Penn State. I don't remember. I've seen a bunch of videos of him. He's like
I know
this.
who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't
He's
know his name.
I don't know his name either. But he's like 250 pounds.
Well,
He's a big dude.
Well, Steven, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm good.
He picked Drew Brees.
I'm good.
Anything
Alright.
else at all? Like anything you want to shit on or?
Our interrupting his story has taken the winds out of his sails.
I'm good.
We need to lift him up with a cool Hawaiian song or something. We can talk about a shirt.
I'm good.
His shirt's sweet.
Go
I
ahead,
said we
Tom Brady.
can.
But I feel like Steven's got something to say.
No, I really don't.
You got nothing.
No, I really don't.
Okay. My headache's killing me. Do you got your stuff now?
Oh, I've had it.
I was like, because I feel like we've kind of gone around and we've now started to simmer down. It's calmed down from the opening.
So, it's no secret, it's Tom Brady. Greatest quarterback of all time. And let me go over some statistics for you. Records owned by Tom Brady. Regular season wins by a starting quarterback, 196 games. He's the leader on that. Division titles, 15. Now, I don't want to hear that he plays in a weak division because the division Peyton Manning played in for most of his career wasn't exactly, well, competitive, to say the least.
Until
Jacksonville didn't become relevant until, like, what, a season and a half ago?
Until he went to the West.
Titans showed spurts, Texans showed spurts, but ultimately, in the end, that was Peyton Manning's division. I'm not going to knock either of them for it. The GM should have done a better job. That's not on the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You play these players twice a year. You should probably figure something out. Playoff games started, 37. Playoff wins, 25. By the way, that's most in the NFL history. Playoff touchdown passes. These are all most in the NFL history, by the way. Playoff touchdown passes, 71. Playoff passing yards, 10,226. Super Bowl appearances, 8. Let that sink in. This dude has gone to 8 Super Bowls. He has been the constant on all 8 appearances. Now, the surroundings have changed, but again, Belichick was there for all 8. I will give that. Super Bowl wins, 5. Only quarterback in NFL history to have 5 as a starting quarterback. I think there's a backup that has 5 that they brought up, but he just happened to go to another team that won. Super Bowl MVPs, 4. Super Bowl touchdown passes, 18. Super Bowl passing yards, 2,576. Records Brady could add to his resume by the end of his career. If he goes 2 years, just 2 more years. Most passing touchdowns. Is it likely Brady's going to toss 56 in a season at this age? Unlikely. He might hit 40 that if he gets really hot. The most passing touchdowns, I believe, overall is owned by Peyton Manning, who has 539. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady is 51 touchdowns behind him. So if Brady went 3 more years and he just threw 20 touchdowns, he really wouldn't even need 20 each season. He's going to take that. Most passing touchdowns postseason included. Peyton Manning has 579 to Tom Brady's 559. Fair to say, in 2 seasons he could pass that. Health stays on his side. Most passing yards, Brady's 3,000 yards behind Peyton Manning, so that's probably coming down this season, maybe by the midway point. Pro Bowls, he's 1 behind Peyton Manning, he's at 13. Who's got the most? Manning, Tony Gonzalez, Bruce Matthews, and Merlin Olsen have 14. So Brady just needs 1 more. Game-winning drives, Brady's behind in Manning on that. But, I mean, that's not really one that, I don't know, I'm not really that concerned about that one. When you think New England Patriots and you think the greatness that Tom Brady has, this dude has worked with so little for a long time. Arguably his best weapon in his entire career is Rob Gronkowski. Fair to say? Best weapon? Been there the longest, most consistent.
Yeah, I mean, injuries, kind of deflate that slightly. No pun intended.
You've had the likes of Wes Welker, who was allergic to playoffs and big game situations.
He was good in the regular season.
Yeah,
He was
I'll give you the
fine.
regular season.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we roll into the playoffs and it's gut check time.
Yeah.
He disappears.
No, he didn't disappear. There was a big
There's an
bright,
APB on him in the Denver Super Bowl.
there was a bright spotlight shining on all the mistakes he made. I know from experience too.
You had Ocho Cinco for a year. That dude forgot how to play football. He caught, I think, 5 passes all year. He caught 120-yard catch in the Super Bowl that they went on to lose. You had Randy Moss at the end of his career. Now, keep in mind, at the end of Randy Moss's career, Tom Brady broke the NFL touchdown record. Had arguably the greatest regular season team of all time. Had it not been for David Tyree and a helmet catch, he's having the greatest season of all time. Voldemort, who is no longer on the team.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about now. I have to think about it again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
While was an elite talent,
Was struck down by his own stupidity.
yes. You've had guys that, I want to get this list up because some of these guys, it is amazing.
Trying to think of all of Manning's weapons.
All right, here's all the guys that caught at least one reception from Tom Brady. Terry Glenn, Michael Floyd, Heath Evans, Larry Centers, Brian Times, Patrick Pass, Michael, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, we'll just call him Who-Man.
Usman Zada?
Yeah, no,
Oh.
Hamawana, I'm so sorry. Who-Man.
Who man? He's a
Tom,
Hooman.
Tom Ashworth, David Thomas, Charles Johnson, Lawrence Maroney, oh, I hated him. Andre Davis, Matthew Mulligan, Matt Lingle,
His name is Mulligan.
Dedrick Ward, Cam Cleveland, LeGarrette Blunt. Those are all the ones that caught at least one. Then you get into the twos. You've got Brandon Bolden, Tim Dwight, Brandon Tate, Algie Crumpler, Mark Edwards, Chris Baker, Keyshawn Martin, Kyle Brady, Deion Lewis, Donald Hayes, Sam Aiken, Corey Dillon. Outside of Corey Dillon off that list, it's not that impressive. And well, Deion Lewis is really good.
I apologize for this. I didn't realize he was going to go this in depth with talking about every receiver.
Well, no, I'm not going to name them all because there's probably about another 70.
Oh my god.
But the point is, how many of those names were Pro Bowlers? Now, take aside Moss, Hogan, Edelman, Welker,
LeGarrette
Blunt. Well, we'll go wide receivers.
Blunt? Okay.
Blunt, not Blunt.
Blunt's a running back, sir.
Amendola, I think, made a Pro Bowl or was
Yeah.
nominated. If he wasn't, I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure he's made one.
God, is that it?
Did Hooman make it?
He was a tight end.
Oh,
Who-Man was a tight. You really want me to say this name?
I really fucking do.
I don't want to disrespect the Who-Man family any more than.
You already are.
But when you look at the overall body of work, Brady in the playoffs is money. He's going to come through in the clutch when you need it. Against the Seattle Seahawks.
I can think of one time he did.
Actually,
I can think of a couple times.
there was 2 times he didn't come up with a win at the end of the Super Bowl.
Well, I was thinking about the playoffs against Peyton Manning when Peyton won his first, where Peyton came back from 18, something like that. It was a large fucking deficit to beat Brady.
But you look at the notable games that stand out to me is the Seahawks game. You're down, I think, 10 or something in the fourth quarter. Come back to win that game. The Atlanta Falcons game, you are getting embarrassed. Blown out, whooped, shellacked, whatever you want to use. They were getting stomped.
This is the part where I say the coach has everything to do with it, because if that coach would have run the fucking ball for most of that second half, Brady still has 4.
The weirdest thing about Tom Brady is, and this came out of Von Miller's mouth, people do stupid stuff when they play the Patriots. There's just something about the mystique of the Patriots and Tom Brady and Darth Hoodie standing on the sidelines. They get in the players' heads, and something stupid happens. Or the other team. Because you're so afraid of what Brady is capable of doing on the field. I believe the 3 of us watched when he won the 5th one. I was not sold that they were going to win after the coin toss. You two both looked at me and said it's over. You said the Patriots are winning this game. And I was hesitant because of how the game had gone. But you both told me that there was no way Tom Brady was not coming off that field without a touchdown. This game was over. And that's exactly what happened. But he didn't throw the touchdown. James White, who was phenomenal that game, ran it in. But overall body of work, I can't put Peyton Manning in this conversation because if you're looking at overall body of work, he was horrible in the postseason. It's not pretty.
But you still have 5 MVPs.
He can have the 5 MVPs. He has 5 MVPs. Tom Brady has 5 Super Bowl wins. I would take the 5 Super Bowl wins over the 5 MVPs. And MVP wise, I think Brady's sitting on what, 3, 4? I think it was 4. 4.
I don't remember. It's a number. It's a number above 2.
4 Super Bowl MVPs. 3-time season MVP.
Yeah.
3-time. Oh, by the way, Brady only unanimously voted MVP of all.
I'm arguing that fucking point. The only reason Peyton Manning didn't win unanimous that one year is because of a New England fucking writer. So I'm arguing that there was some bias. Because that was the year he had 55 TDs. That was the year he basically broke every fucking single season record they had. And I firmly believe that the New England writer, because they did prove that it was a New England writer.
It was from the Boston Herald.
Yes. That decided not to vote for Peyton. It was because he didn't want to fucking give him a unanimous
But
vote.
here's the thing. The one thing that Brady and Manning both have in common is they both had the best teams to ever grace a season, and they both went to the Super Bowl, and they both lost.
Yep.
Now, granted, the margin in which they lost are night and day.
Mm-hmm.
That game was over at halftime, and then it was cemented when Percy Harvin took his sweet feet across the field and put the stamp on it. But in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, for the most part in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady is money. There are 2 times Tom Brady came up short in the Super Bowl. To the Eagles, where he gets sacked, strip fumbled, and he was incomplete on the final. Shit, we got to try. I'm sorry, 3 times because he's lost 3. The David Tyree catch, which I think after that catch, I think New England was dead mentally and emotionally because of just the way that game was going. And then Plaxico caught the touchdown, I believe, the very next play.
It's like, 1 or 2 plays later.
The one in Indianapolis where he lost Eli in the rematch came down to another last-second shot, and Tom didn't get it crossing. But he's failed 3 times in the postseason, the Super Bowl. He's walked away with 5. Did he go undefeated in the Super Bowl? No, he didn't. Joe Montana has the perfect record in Super Bowls. But Tom Brady has worked with so little. And Tom Brady, every year it changes. His offense changes. Outside of Gronk and Edelman, the rest are kind of viewed as expendable. How many times has Tom Brady had this exact same wide receiver core more than 3 years?
Hasn't he had it the last 3 years up until now? Because he had.
I don't know how long Amendola's been on the team.
Well, he's gone now, and I guess you could say technically he didn't because Edelman got hurt before the season started last year. So, but it's a proven fact that you can lose your number 1 wide receiver and still go to the Super Bowl because I've seen more than one team.
And also, Rob Gronkowski was not in the Super Bowl that he played Atlanta. He was out. He had the collapsed lung.
Right.
But the other thing I wanted to point out is how many years has Peyton Manning had consistency on offense?
Mm-hmm.
Always had Reggie Wayne, always had Marvin Harrison, always had Dallas Clark. Those for the big run. When he blew up and he became Peyton Manning, those 3
Yeah,
were
but you
there.
also have to remember when he came in, before Andrew Luck came into the league, he was sacked the most times. His offensive line can't protect him. His offensive line was barely able to protect him until what?
I just thought of something
Well,
really
4,
huge that I
5.
remember from my argument, but what?
When was the time that Indianapolis finally got an offensive line to protect Peyton? Because it wasn't until
Around the time
Middle
they
of
won
his
the
career.
The one they Super Bowl?
so 07 or
and,
06.
and in total fairness, a lot of that had to do with the fact that their defense finally figured out how to fucking play. Because if it weren't for Bob Sanders, I don't think the Colts win that Super Bowl.
See, that's the thing.
I don't think they go to that Super Bowl.
It's not just about the quarterback. You have to look at the other side of the ball. Tom Brady's had defenses. Peyton Manning has not until he got to Denver. Because if you really look at the Colts have not had a leading defense since 05, 06.
Yep.
And that's been, what, 12 years ago?
And they went to the Super Bowl and won it.
Yeah. So, again, Tom Brady's not doing it by himself. His defense is pulling through that game, too, because there's several times that defense won him that game.
Yep. There were several times it was a kicker,
And a kicker.
Vincenary.
But what I'm-
first
what I-
year.
Well, but to be fair, it was Tom Brady who put them in position to
Right.
get that.
Yeah.
But
Not
again,
this one.
I've always said defense wins you championships. It's not the offense that wins it. It's the defense.
Offense gets you there. Defense
The offense
you.
gets you there. The defense is either going to win you that game or you're going to lose
Is
it.
it fair to say in the Atlanta game it was the offense that won the Super Bowl?
Maybe the first time.
Yes, because I think Atlanta's.
If Tom didn't have to put up 50 points,
Well, if Atlanta's offense would have been intelligent and ran the ball a lot during the second, because realistically, they were still up like 28-10 at one point, and
9 because they missed an
Yeah.
extra point.
in like sometime around the fourth quarter, if you just run the ball for 90% of the plays, yeah, you're probably not going to get very many first downs. But guess what? Tom Brady's not going to be on the fucking field for 3 or 4 minutes. So guess what? He's going to have less opportunities to get the ball. But anyway, I forgot an argument, and I just remembered.
Good.
This is the knock towards Brady, and it's a statistical thing. It's not anything about cheating or scandals or anything like that. And this actually is it's a knock to Brady, but not to the organization. I would argue that the Patriots organization is the best NFL organization as far as being able to keep core players and be competitive year in and year out. Yes, I know their division's terrible, but irregardless,
They still have to play in the playoffs.
yeah,
So
they're still consistently one of the best organizations. And I'll use it with this. When Peyton Manning went down with his neck injury, that team was a playoff team, Super Bowl contender team. When Peyton Manning went down, that team became a #1 draft pick team. When Brady went down with a knee injury at the first game of the season, that team literally went from a Super Bowl contender to still a playoff contender, and really, if it weren't for some fluky rules, would have still made the playoffs with a backup quarterback. So I would argue in that case that because Brady has played for such a great organization, that puts Manning in a little bit better standing, because if he played at the same organization that Brady did, imagine what shit he would do with that organization. And Belichick and Manning together would be fucking horrifying.
my thing to that is that that offense was almost identical to what they came off of the undefeated season with. Loss was still there. Welker, Benjamin Watson was there, tight end. Maroney was still the running back. All those pieces were still there.
Right.
Now, granted, was there a very large part of that was on Bill Belichick and his genius as coach?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because he knew how to use Matt Castle to make Matt Castle as good as Matt Castle can be. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
He will get wine out of fucking garbage.
Yeah.
He's amazing. But I do think a lot of that was the weapons he had around him. Now, in Denver, in the year where they went batshit crazy for touchdowns, they were giving away like fucking tickets. You had Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker,
Julius Thomas.
no Sean Moreno.
It was before Emmanuel got there.
No?
Yeah, Emmanuel got
Was
there.
it?
Yes, it was the year before Emmanuel got there. Emmanuel got there in
Are you
2014.
sure?
Pretty sure. Pretty confident. It was Decker.
Decker.
Yeah.
Yes,
Decker was the
that was the big
You're welcome.
big guy. But they had all these great weapons. And Brock Osweiler, I don't know, maybe Brock Osweiler's just a bad quarterback. I don't know. Maybe even, I don't even know if Belichick could fix that. Brock was just ineffective.
As soon as he left Denver, he was terrible.
Now, I mean, you could argue that maybe the offense didn't want to play for him because they didn't feel that change was right.
In fairness,
You benched one of the greatest of all time because he started to get old.
Yeah.
At some point, mark my words, that will happen to Tom Brady.
But hasn't that not already happened?
it's not-
Especially after going into this off season.
Yeah, but I mean, Brady still dropped holy shit numbers in the Super Bowl. Yes, he lost, but you
Right.
can't argue with the fact that he was dropping
That was a
400 plus fucking
arcade
yards.
game.
Both teams. There wasn't a fucking defense on either side of the goddamn ball. They just both went, eh. I mean, fuck, we could go out there, it seemed like, against against either defense and throw the fucking ball up. And probably be decent. I was like, it was kind of ridiculous how much offense there was on both sides of the ball. But, I mean, your Broncos thing makes sense, but I'm more talking about when he was with the Colts. That essentially you took a 16-0 team helmed by Tom Brady, and it dropped to only a 9-7 team. Peyton had, I think, a 14-2.
10-6.
Yeah.
We had double-digit wins and missed the playoffs.
I think Peyton was 14-2, 13-3, somewhere in that range, when he played in 2010, because Luck came in 2012. And then 2011, when he sat out for the whole season, they went 2-11? 2-14. So they completely flip-flop numbers. Like, they went from being a perennial favorite with Peyton Manning to being irrelevant. They were irrelevant. They weren't even a fucking team. They were an expansion team without Peyton Manning. I mean, the amount of drop-off that team went through without just one player just shows how good Peyton Manning was at making a terrible team a great team.
Like
And
I
I'm
said-
not arguing that Tom doesn't do the same thing.
Well, hell,
They're
you
one
got him
of-
not winning a Super Bowl even if he went to, say...
If he went to Cleveland, he wouldn't win a Super Bowl.
No, but he'd probably give him at least 10 wins.
And he'd make it to the playoffs, but I don't think he'd win a Super Bowl with Cleveland.
There's some team... Like, I don't think it's remotely fair to say that Tom Brady would never win a Super Bowl in another team.
Yeah. That was a little aggressive. I'm saying he wouldn't be as good without the team. I went a little excessive with what I was saying. But the underlying
I
point
fell
was,
out of my damn chair and he's never winning a Super Bowl.
the underlying point was that if it weren't for him being with the Patriots, he would not be, I don't think he'd be in the conversation. To be honest with you.
We don't know.
I mean, there's no way to prove it.
We might find out, but it's going to be unfair because at the age that he's at right now.
Yeah, it's impossible to prove.
But does anybody else have anything that they want to add?
Steven?
Silent Bob over here.
We're going to buy him a pizza. He seems really salty now.
No, I'm good.
It feels like he's the opposite of good.
Do you want to watch the blooper from last week?
No, I'm good.
Well, that's sad. That made me sad.
Hello.
Oh,
Well, thanks for watching this episode of the Four Quarters Podcast. Please like and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that subscribed. I forgot and now I remember. Thanks to everybody that subscribed or liked the videos or liked our YouTube or our Facebook page or liked or follow our Twitter page. Thanks to Castle Comics for everything they do. If you are watching this for the first time, and just give us a like and subscribe. You can comment below, tell us how crazy we are, or agree with us, whatever the hell you want. I don't care. But for everybody here at the Four Corners Podcast, I'm Colin,
I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
Scott.
and we'll end this downer note. See you guys.
See us.